Welcome, curious minds, to another deep dive. Today, we're plunging into a truly fascinating and, frankly, quite unsettling topic. It unfolded not in a traditional courtroom, with judges and juries, but in the sprawling, hyper-connected digital town hall of our modern world.
That's absolutely right. Our source material today is this really exhaustive analysis of what's been called the digital docket, deconstructing the people v. policy in the case of the rotting fields. It's an incredible look at a socio-political firestorm, and it just erupted almost out of nowhere in the comments section of a single viral news clip. What makes it so compelling, I think, is how it sort of redefines public discourse itself.
So our mission in this deep dive, then, is to unpack this digital conflagration, this intense social and political conflict that just spread like wildfire. We're going to treat this comment section like a primary source document because it really reveals a pivotal, raw, and often, deeply emotional moment in contemporary American socio-political discourse. We'll dissect the main arguments, look at the recurring themes of blame and responsibility, and analyze the language, the tone, the underlying ideologies of these anonymous citizens stepping up to the digital microphone.
Exactly. We'll see how a seemingly simple video, but incredibly visceral, became a kind of de facto trial in the court of public opinion. And the defendant here wasn't a person, not really, not even a specific organization. It was policy, a set of policies. The charge wasn't murder or theft. It was the perceived sabotage of the American economy. And for many, a profound betrayal of the American worker and the jury. Well, a volatile, anonymous, and deeply divided public, each person bringing their own beliefs, their own anxieties, confronted with this stark visual that just seemed to confirm everything they already thought. So for you, our listener, what was the actual spark? What ignited this whole thing, this digital uprising?
Okay, let's unpack this, give it some context. The traditional town hall, that physical space for debate, it's basically been digitized completely. It's shifted from a wooden soapbox in the town square to a 60-second video popping up in your social media feed. And this is exactly where our case study begins, a real flashpoint. All encapsulated in the raw, unfiltered comment section of a video on Pulse, the platform.
Yeah, ubiquitous. And the catalyst was this video seemed harmless enough at first glance, posted by a user called USA Baby Yus, tagged simply with #news. And it presented itself as citizen journalism, a dispatch from the ground that was reporting on this burgeoning national crisis. What's key here, I think, is that it wasn't from a major news outlet. It felt authentic, urgent.
And the video itself, wow, it was a masterclass in modern, algorithm-friendly agitprop. Agitprop meaning, agitation and propaganda mixed together. It wasn't just footage. It was carefully crafted to get a reaction, to push people towards a certain viewpoint. It opened with this amazing high-res drone shot soaring over huge fields, maybe Florida, maybe California. But instead of green, it was just brown, black, wilted yellow, sickly looking, a total visual gut punch. Immediately something was really wrong.
Oh, definitely. And then the camera comes down, slowly focuses on rows of lettuce, just dissolving, rotting right there. Tomatoes splitting, fermenting, oranges, strawberries just lying in these fuzzy, moldy carpets. The visuals were just stark, visceral, deeply unsettling. It's a picture of abundance, just left to waste. It's hard not to have a strong reaction to seeing that much food just gone. The scale of it was shocking.
And layered over this grim picture, this tableau, was this clipped, dramatic narration. Sounded like it was maybe pulled from a local news broadcast, gave it that official feel. An urgent voice talking about a labor crisis of unprecedented scale, billions of dollars in produce rotting, and warnings of imminent catastrophic price hikes. So it wasn't just showing a problem, it was framing it as this impending national disaster, hitting people right in the wallet.
And then, to really personalize it, to ground the crisis in human terms, it cut to this gut-wrenching interview. A weathered farmer, his eyes actually welling up. He says, just raw emotion. 30 years I've been doing this, never seen anything like it. You have the food, but no one to pick it. They're all gone. That personal testimony, absolutely critical. It turned an abstract economic issue into a personal tragedy. Made it relatable. You felt his despair.
Right. And here's where it pivots, where it goes from report to, political statement. The last few seconds. A stark, white-on-black text card flashes up. This is the result of new immigration policies. Didn't name a specific bill, didn't name a politician, and that was smart tactically. It was this carefully crafted void, right? Designed for you, the viewer, to fill it with your own politics, your own anxiety.
Exactly. Strategic ambiguity.
Yeah, and paired with the somber piano music. It just screamed causation without getting specific. Very effective.
Absolutely. And that combination, the visuals, the vague but loaded conclusion, It just went viral. It's explosively. The Pulse algorithm, which is built to spot stuff that gets people talking, clicking, arguing, it flagged this immediately, a lightning rod. It saw the engagement signals, not just likes, but comments, replies, how long people watched. And that created this feedback loop, right? The emotional content gets engagement, engagement tells the algorithm, show this more, which gets more engagement.
Right, it just spirals.
Precisely. But its real power, its significance was in that comment section. It became this huge, real-time archive of American anxiety. A digital docket, they called it. 1,763 comments and climbing. A living document of public opinion.
So the video hits Pulse, the algorithm kicks in. What was the immediate reaction? What did this digital jury say first?
Well, the first wave, the most immediate and overwhelming current, blame. Swift, often furious blame. For a huge, very vocal group, those rotting fields were the direct result of one thing, former President Trump's policies and rhetoric, especially on immigration.
And this wasn't like careful policy analysis. This was raw, emotional, often really angry language. A top comment, lots of likes, from Patriot Heart USA just laid it out. This is Trump's America. He broke it. Now he wants everyone else to clean up his mess. Unforgivable.
Pretty powerful opening statement in this digital trial, wasn't it? Framing it as personal failure.
Definitely. And then another user, Concerned Mama Ohio, posted, Trump is destroying our country. I've been saying it for years and people called me crazy. Look now. Look at this. You see the double exclamation points, the caps, the appeal to vindications, the sound of a group feeling like their worst fears just came true. Right there on the screen.
The I told you so moment.
Exactly, writ large.
What's really interesting here, though, is this sub-theme. This idea, it wasn't a mistake, but deliberate, almost conspiratorial. Like Truthseeker84 wrote, don't be fooled, people. This isn't a mistake. That was Trump.plan to destroy the country is chaos. Yeah, see, that's not just incompetence. That's suggesting, malevolence. A sinister plan where chaos was the goal. And Dem Forever and Why kind of fleshed that out, connecting it to past statements. He told us what he was. He demonized the very people who do the work. It's not a bug, it's the feature. He wanted to burn it all down to prove he was right about the carnage. That directly links the rotting fields to Trump's inaugural address, the American Carnage line.
Wow.
Yeah, framing the rot as his dark prophecy fulfilled, and maybe even orchestrated by the prophet himself.
The anger felt really personal, too, like betrayal. Justice for All 2024 commented, this is Trump way of making America great, asa asa, just dripping with rage, those 5 angry emojis. That's modern punctuation for fury.
It really is. It's a lament against that slogan, turned into this bitter joke in their eyes. And then you had slightly more, let's say, academic-sounding condemnations. History will judge tried to elevate it. The long-term economic consequences of populist nationalism are well documented. You disrupt established labor flows. With xenophobic policy, you get this. It's textbook. Trump is to blame, and anyone who supported it is an accessory.
So trying to frame it as inevitable, predicted by theory, making supporters complicit.
Right, giving it intellectual weight.
But across all these, the feeling isn't just anger. It's that deep sense of betrayal. The rotting food wasn't just waste. It was like a physical symbol of broken promises, of decline, all pinned on one person.
And connecting back to the platform, its own mechanics just amplified this narrative massively. The like button, the silent cheer, thousands clicking agreement, top comments boosted by those likes stayed pinned.
Yeah.
Setting the tone. And the algorithm, seeing all this anti-Trump engagement, just fed the video to more people likely to agree.
Creating that feedback loop of outrage you mentioned.
Exactly. So in this digital courtroom, the prosecution against the former president was relentless. And for many, the verdict was already in. Guilty. No trial needed.
Okay, so that indictment of Trump was loud and clear. But it wasn't the only voice, right? There was pushback.
Oh, absolutely. It didn't go unchallenged. A really powerful counter-narrative emerged. It wasn't necessarily about defending Trump directly, but more about turning the accusation back onto his critics. This was the cross-examination phase. Sharp sarcasm, direct confrontation.
And the core argument was pretty simple, wasn't it? Captured by Real Talk TX. To everyone who complained about taking their jobs for years, let's go, jobs are waiting for you.
Yeah, grammatically imperfect, but tactically brilliant. It weaponized that long-standing anti-immigration talk. Turned it into this really uncomfortable call to action, like, okay, you wanted this, here's your chance.
And the sentiment just took off, loads of variations. Work Hard, Play Hard USA posted, all you tough guys who are so worried about your jobs being stolen, here's your chance to shine. The fields are open. What's the problem?
Yeah, that tough guys bit. Dripping with condescension, painting them as all talk. And Just Saying 99 added that practical barb. I hope all the people who voted for this have their work boots and sun hats ready. That fruit isn't going to pick itself.
Right, highlighting the actual physical labor involved, the stuff people maybe forget when they're talking policy from their couch. And it got even more direct, targeting specific voters, Carmes Real said. All of Trump's followers should go get those jobs. They wanted this right. They said Americans could do it better. So go on, prove it.
It's a political I dare you. Pointing out that perceived gap between the rhetoric, Americans first, and the reality of that tough, low-wage work, sarcasm just became the main tool here, expressing frustration, maybe a bit of grim satisfaction. You saw those questions over and over. Is America getting great yet, or are we great yet?
Yeah, like a mocking refrain, echoing the slogan against the backdrop of rotting food.
Exactly. The question answered itself, really. Devastatingly effective.
And then the visual punchlines, too, like cynical Gen Z PDX posting a clown emoji with MAGA right now realizing what unskilled labor actually means for their dinner table.
Swift, visual, contemptuous, using digital shorthand to dismiss and shame. But, underneath the mockery, there was maybe a deeper point emerging about the nature of work itself, about the economy. These comments kind of implied that many people look down on manual labor while resenting the immigrants who do it.
Right. So the crisis becomes this, necessary wake-up call. Painful, but maybe needed.
That seemed to be the underlying argument for some. A reality check on values and dependencies.
And then you had that really poignant one, less sarcastic, from Farm Wife FL, grounding it all. She wrote, "My husband and I have been trying to hire locals for a decade. Fair wages, no one lasts more than a week. It's hard, grueling work. The people we used to hire worked harder than anyone. Now they're gone and our crop is dying. To everyone who thought this was a good idea, please, I'm begging you, come work for us."
Wow. Yeah, that just cuts through all the political noise, doesn't it? Straight to the desperate human reality on the ground. And it raises this question about why this go-get-the-jobs argument was so effective. It shifted the burden of proof, right? It forced the other side to explain why they weren't doing this supposedly essential work.
And any answer they give pays too low, works too hard, opens up other uncomfortable questions.
Exactly. Questions about the whole economic system they claim to be defending. So that digital cross-examination, blunt as it was, really aimed to expose hypocrisy. Strip away the theory, show the practice.
Okay, so we have the blame game, the sarcastic counterattack. But there was another strong feeling running through this, wasn't there? Fear.
Oh, definitely. A powerful undercurrent of palpable fear. Real anxiety about the economic fallout. If the rotting fields were the symptom, these comments were the grim diagnosis, the prognosis.
And this thread seemed less about politics, more about survival. Budget Mom USA really nailed it. This is scary. This isn't about politics anymore. It's about survival. Wait till we can't afford food no matter how much we make. Then people will see.
Yeah, that captures it. Stripping away the partisan stuff down to the basics. Can I feed my family? That kind of fundamental fear.
The core idea seemed to be that a pillar of the economy had just been kicked out and everything was starting to shake. Econ Student NY put it in stark terms. People are about to get a very harsh lesson in supply and demand. You've just decapitated the labor supply. Supply plummets. Prices skyrocket. Basic economics. This isn't complicated.
Presenting the coming pain as just inevitable. Like 2 + 2, 4. A brutal economic equation. And that phrase, the hand that feed us, kept popping up. Such a powerful metaphor for the immigrant workforce. Grateful Citizen expanded on it. We are cutting off the hand that feed us, and we are surprised that we're starting to go hungry. What did anyone think was going to happen?
Framing it as national self-harm, like shooting yourself in the foot, but, with your food supply. And a big part of this fear was the feeling that there was just no plan, like zero foresight.
Right. Not just a bad policy, but implemented recklessly. Logistics ATL brought that operational critique. Talk about having no logistics backup plans, pure amateur hour from the government. You don't just remove 1 million workers and hope for the best. They did none of it.
Suggesting a failure not just of ideology, but of basic competence. Management 101 failure.
And the predictions got pretty dire. Almost apocalyptic, some of them. Prepper Pete wrote, "Better start learning to garden. Grocery store shelves going to look like old Soviet Union pictures. This is how it starts."
Wow. Tapping into that deep Cold War scarcity anxiety, seeing this as the first domino falling towards collapse, what's really interesting is how this economic fear created those strange bedfellows.
Yeah, people who'd normally be on opposite sides suddenly finding common ground and worry.
Like Blue Collar PA, the self-proclaimed Trump voter. "I voted for Trump. I did think we needed to control the border, but not like this. I can't afford for my grocery bill to double. My wages aren't going up. How are we supposed to live?
That's such a raw, conflicted comment. Ideology crashing right into personal economic reality shows the real tension. And you have to think the platform itself, Pulse, just amplified these fears, scrolling through hundreds of comments predicting doom.
Yeah.
It creates this overwhelming sense of consensus, right? Like catastrophe is certain.
Yeah, and the video looping in the background, the rotting visuals while you're reading about empty shelves.
It's a multisensory experience of dread, turning individual fears into this collective premonition.
Okay, so amidst all the blame, the fear, the sarcasm, another distinct voice emerged, didn't it? A voice of pride.
Yes, absolutely. A distinct, powerful, and incredibly resilient voice of identity. This was the community right at the center of the storm, immigrant workers, their descendants, particularly from the Latino community, speaking up defiantly.
And their comments weren't just defensive, were they? They were declarations, assertions of their vital role.
Exactly. The quintessential one came from Latina Unidad, just pure power and resilience. They can talk all they want, blame us, beg us to come back. Doesn't matter. We know the truth. Us Latinos are the spine of this country.
The spine! That's such a brilliant metaphor, isn't it?
It really is. Not a limb, not something extra, but the core structure. Without the spine, the whole body collapses.
Right. And that flexed bicep emoji, symbolizing strength, hard work, pride.
And that theme, reclaiming their story, asserting their value, was echoed elsewhere. Orgullo Mexicano AZ had that sharp, defiant comment. For generations, they called us lazy and criminals while we broke our backs. Now they see what happens when the lazy people go home. Enjoy your rotting food.
Oof. Layered with history, pain, righteous anger, like, you got what you asked for. It felt like a real act of narrative reclamation, taking back control of their story.
Completely. Reframing it from illegal or dependent to contribution, resilience, sacrifice. Robert Ortiz personalized it beautifully. My father worked fields like this 40 years, sent 3 kids to college. We are doctors, teachers now. We are this country. This video insults his legacy, millions like him.
Highlighting that intergenerational contribution. We are part of this country's fabric.
And you felt that sense of solidarity too. The us, the we, Vertica Pride Y broadened it out. Isn't just about farm workers, it's all of us. Nannies, dishwashers, hotel cleaners, they want our labor, but not our humanity. Now they have neither.
Getting to that core grievance, valuing the work but devaluing the person. So the crisis, tragic as it was, also became this moment of painful validation.
Paradoxically, yes, the ultimate unwanted proof of their value. Lavois Eiffel captured that complex feeling, somber, but almost pedagogical. Sad to see this waste, but it's also a lesson, a very expensive lesson for America, to learn about who we are and what we do.
Like the fields themselves were a classroom.
And the platform's visual nature played into this too. People doing stitches or duets, the original video on one side, a Latino worker or professional silently staring back on the other, often with powerful Latin music.
Like a digital, we are here, a visual counter-narrative.
Exactly, asserting their presence, their essential role across all parts of American life.
Okay, one more major thread running through all this. This sense of exasperation, the feeling that this was all so predictable.
Yes, that's a great way to put it. A more philosophical, reflective thread defined by that recurring question, what did they think was going to happen?
This was the voice of weary reason. The chorus saying, this isn't shocking, folks, this was inevitable.
It felt like a verdict from people who thought the trial was over before it started.
Pretty much. Common Sense Kate used that great analogy, like watching someone saw off the branch they're sitting on and then act surprised when they fall. What did they think was going to happen?
Painting the policy as just, self-defeatingly stupid, simple cause and effect. And this wasn't really partisan, was it? More a critique of ideology ignoring reality. Justifaction had that cool analytical take. Setting aside politics, let's just look at the numbers. U.S. agriculture has relied on foreign-born labor for over a century. They did rip the Band-Aid off. Now shocked. Catastrophic failure of planning.
Diagnosing it as a failure of process, of competence, ignoring history and economics.
And it brings up that point about the disconnect from reality. Urban farmer Chi wrote, "This is what happens when people whose only connection to food is a sanitized grocery store make policy about it. Thought robots or patriotic teens would magically appear."
suggesting this deep ignorance of rural life, of where food actually comes from, the gap between policy rooms and fields, and often expressed with this weary resignation, right? Like they'd been saying this forever.
Exactly. History teacher VA brought in the historical angle. This happened before. Look up the Bracero program we never seem to learn, doomed to repeat the history we refuse to read.
Lending it that weight of historical precedent, a lament for collective amnesia.
Maybe the most cynical take, though, came from Pragmatist Prime. A really unsettling interpretation. The cruelty was the point. The chaos is the point. The policy worked if its goal was to punish immigrants and create a spectacle. The rotting food is just collateral damage in a cultural war.
Wow. So moving beyond incompetence to suggest deliberate indifference, that the failure was the point.
That was the argument. Deeply cynical, but it resonated with some.
So what does this all mean? These commenters were like analysts watching from the sidelines, completely unsurprised.
Yeah, doing the post-mortem on a disaster they felt they'd long predicted, a collective, frustrated, I told you so. That question, what did they think was going to happen? It wasn't really a question, was it?
No, it was rhetorical. The answer implied a damning indictment of foresight, planning, maybe even empathy.
Okay, so to really get this whole phenomenon, we have to zoom out, right? Look at the environment itself. The Pulse platform.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a neutral box holding the comments. It was an active participant. Its design, its algorithms, its whole culture shaped everything.
Absolutely. The way Pulse works is engineered for rapid emotional reactions. Liking is easy double tap. Feeds the algorithm instantly. The comment section scrolls forever, designed to keep you hooked, scrolling down that rabbit hole.
Right. So it inherently favors stuff that provokes a strong, immediate response.
Right.
Which this video was perfect for. Optimized for virality and high-octane interaction. And that number, 1,763 comments. That's not just trivia. On Pulse, that means viral. It triggers the algorithm to blast it out further via the For You feed.
That self-perpetuating cycle again. Outrage drives engagement. Engagement signals importance. Algorithm amplifies outrage.
Exactly. Not passive sharing. Active algorithmic promotion.
So this digital town hall, it's not really a level playing field, is it?
Not at all. The loudest, most provocative, most emotional voices get the biggest microphone. Handed to them by the algorithm, not a human moderator. It amplifies strong feelings, anger, fear, pride. And here's where it gets really weird, almost surreal. The way serious political debate just blends seamlessly with, well, frothy entertainment.
Yeah, you're scrolling through furious arguments about food security, economic collapse, and the suggested accounts sidebar shows you Taylor Swift, Bad Bunny, The Rock, Olivia Rodrigo.
Shakira, Marshmello, Billie Eilish, a whole different universe right there.
The cognitive dissonance must be intense, reading about potential famine, then seeing a smiling thumbnail of The Rock.
Exactly. And what does that do? Maybe it trivializes the serious stuff, just more content alongside celebrity gossip.
Okay.
Or maybe it politicizes the pop stars, makes Bad Bunny or Shakira cultural symbols in these identity battles. Hard to say, but it's happening.
And the Discover section does the same thing. Hashtag Florida Farms next to global pics or some trending song title.
The emotional whiplash.
Yeah.
It's intense. 1 second, potential societal breakdown. The next, a catchy pop tune.
You have to wonder if that contributes to shorter attention spans, heightened emotional reactions online, everything flattened, competing for clicks.
And underneath all this chaos, that sterile corporate structure, the tiny links in the footer, ByteDance, terms and policies, privacy policies.
Right, reminding you this vibrant, messy town hall is actually a private commercial space designed to maximize engagement for ad revenue, not for democracy.
So what does that mean for the public forum? Well, they have community guidelines against hate speech, sure, but the sheer volume, moderation is almost impossible on viral content.
So it feels both regulated and lawless at the same time.
Exactly, a weird paradox. And that newsroom link is ironic, isn't it?
Yeah, users like USA Baby Own are the ones creating the news that grabs everyone.
The platform isn't a newsroom, it's an arena. Provides the stage, the weapons maybe, but leaves the fighting to the users.
So Pulse isn't passive, it actively shapes the conversation. A digital town hall and a funhouse mirror, distorting, amplifying. So wrapping up this deep dive, those 1,763 comments, they're way more than just fleeting digital chatter. They're like a core sample drilled right into the American psyche, mid-2020s, an unfiltered snapshot.
Yeah, they show a nation really grappling with its identity, its economic foundations, the legacy of the recent past. This case we explored, it wasn't about a specific crime. It was a public prosecution of a policy, of a political philosophy. That comment section was the courtroom, the docket, the jury box, and the proceedings. Chaotic, passionate, and incredibly revealing.
We've tried to unpack it. The indictment of Trump, the fierce cross-examination, the deep economic fear, the powerful Latino declaration of value, that weary chorus saying, "We told you so."
And all of it happening in that unique, algorithm-driven, sometimes disorienting digital town hall. And the final verdict, in the case of the People v. Policy.
There isn't one, is there?
No clear answer. The jury was fundamentally hung. Everyone just retreated into their polarized corners, confirming their own biases. The platform didn't create consensus. It amplified division. It entrenched positions.
Right, and unlike a real court where a hung jury means something stops, Here,
the trial just keeps going. It perpetuates the conflict, doesn't resolve it. It's this perpetual low-level conflict chipping away.
But even without a verdict, the trial itself was hugely significant. It showed how a video of rotting lettuce can spark this massive debate about labor, immigration, responsibility. It showed that the most potent political arenas might not be on TV or in Congress anymore.
Right. They might be in these chaotic, unfiltered, deeply human comment sections on our phones.
Yeah.
The story of the rotting fields really is the story of America right now. Abundance, teetering on scarcity, a nation of immigrants arguing about who belongs, a public square that's more accessible, more chaotic, and more commercialized than ever. It's complex, contradictory.
That comment section is like a mirror, and the reflection, a nation arguing with itself, unsure if it's heading for ruin or some kind of painful, necessary awakening. The case is definitely not closed. The digital docket's always open. The next hashtag news item is just a scroll away.
So maybe something for you, our listener, to think about as you scroll through your own feeds. What kinds of digital trials are playing out around you? How are stories being shaped? What biases are being fed? And what role, if any, do you play? It's a powerful, unsettling place, this digital public square.
Until next time, keep digging deeper, keep questioning, and always strive to stay genuinely well-informed.